Hi, everyone. Welcome. I know more people are coming in, so let's give them a moment to come in. Yeah, we've got a welcome from Naluri events over there. We're glad to have all of you here today. It's so close to the holidays, and I'm sure maybe some of you have taken leave already, just waiting for that to happen. For those of you who haven't, I hope you can enjoy your weekends and the sort of holidays that you are getting with, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, some long weekends over there for all of you. Yeah, so just get comfortable. Today we're going to talk about health. We're going to allow more people to come in. Um, Question to Naluri events: how long should we wait to ensure that most people have time to get in and get settled before we start? All right, 3 more minutes. So let's go until 11:05, right? And those of you who are already in here, as you're getting settled, go ahead and pop a quick comment in the chat. Maybe tell us, how are you doing? How are you feeling today? What's your mood like? Um, yeah, just basically, what's going on? How are you like? Are you feeling good today? Are you feeling not so good? Are you feeling tired? Um, yeah, good to hear that, Jennifer. I'll be honest, I'm feeling all right. Not at the point of great yet, but all right. So hopefully that momentum goes up with the webinar today. But anyone else, what is everyone else feeling? If you want to be honest, if you want to say that you're not feeling so good, that's fine too. If you don't want to talk about your mood, but you want to talk about what are your plans for the holiday season, feel free to put that in the chat as well. Love to hear what everyone's doing. Busy with work. That is planned during the holidays. So sorry, but hope you can find some time to rest as well. Now we're getting more people in, so that's good. Feeling all right. Hoping it is Friday. I love Fridays. You know what? Me too. Fridays always signify the end of the work week, which means the end of our stress. Looking forward to the weekend because of that, right? Awesome. All right. Well, what about everyone else? Does everyone else also love Fridays? I'd love to see how many more people here love Fridays. Yeah, Friday signifies starting a fun week. That's amazing. So I don't know if any of you are taking, any leaves or anything, but I will be for this lovely you know, uh, last 2 weeks of December, because I feel like I need it, after this whole year, all of us adjusting back to the hybrid. Is it work from home? Is it work from office? There's so much happening. On leave for the whole of next week. That's amazing. I'm so glad you get to have that. Yeah, so we're having more people coming in. Those who just came in, I'm just asking everyone here to put a little comment in the chat about how you're feeling, or if there's any plans you have for the next 2 weeks of December. Some people have already said that they're going on leave. Some people have said that they're still going to be busy with work. And there's a bit of a discourse going on of how Friday is the best day of the week. Yeah, I think that's something that we need sometimes. Can't wait for the holidays, leaving all of this behind. Like no annual leave, no holiday. I'm so sorry to hear that. Um, Hopefully you get some in the next year, in the new year, right? Celebrating Christmas with in-law family, but still need to bring back work. Yeah, I think that's one of the parts where it's the holiday season, yet you're still working. So how do we balance that, right? It's going to be a bit tricky. Hopefully, you get to do that. You get to still enjoy, still get to have fun while completing your work. All right, so it is 11:05. I think. Oh, good morning. Clear your annual leave. Yeah, there's so many things going on for kids actually. In the holiday season. So hopefully you can find something. And for those of you who have come in, just get settled. We're going to get started on today's topic. But since it is 11:06, I think it's a good time to just start. And if more people come in, hopefully they can um, catch up with what's going on. But it's not really difficult, right? So today I just want to have it as sort of a casual webinar to talk about maybe some things that we tend to neglect during the holidays, and how you can start to focus and prioritize on these things so that you have a really good holiday. Okay, so let me just start with the slides over here. It should be presented. Oops, went all the way to the last one. Let me go all the way back to the beginning, right here. Oh, I don't know why it's not. Come on, let's go. All right. So I think with that preview, you probably know what we're going to talk about. But yeah, today's title, for those of you who have joined in, is Healthy Holidays, Master Your Health Game this season. Now, the holidays are something we all look forward to. Um, but when we look forward to these things, it's easy to sort of forget some of the other priorities in our life, right? That's why I want to talk about health. How do we maintain or still focus and optimize our health while having a great time during the holidays? Okay. So, a very quick question to all of you who are already in here. How many of you usually feel your health game slipping during the holidays? Like your diet isn't the best. You get all of the lovely food during the holidays, all the sweets, the snacks, the chocolates. How many of you feel that you're not really that great with your health during the holidays? Yeah, you can put hands up as a reaction. All right, we've got one person then. Thank you so much for your honesty. We've got more. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say me too. My health slips so badly during the holidays, right? Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so many of you. I think all of you have solidarity here. You can see how many more people feel the same way you do, right? And that's why today I think it's so important for all of us to just have this discussion. How do we start thinking about being healthy when our mind is not in that healthy mode during the holidays, right? So hopefully by today, I can help you all understand a bit more where to start, um, and not feel like it's such a big amount of effort to do these things for yourself. All right. Just a quick intro. My name is Amanda Xavier. I know it's weird that I've been talking to you all. I didn't introduce myself. I'm a clinical psychologist with Minda Psychology Services, and I'm happy to be here with Naluri to share with you guys about health during your holidays. So let's go on to the next slide here. So, firstly, with housekeeping, right? Go ahead and ask your questions, share your thoughts in the chat box. I think most of you have already been doing that. Those of you who don't have it, you can open it with the little message bubbles on the top right of your screen. So you click there, you can open chat, you can come into the chat, and at the bottom you can type your message or mention someone, or even put in a reaction, an emoji. If you want to direct some questions to me, you can type at Amanda, and it will come up Amanda Xavier. So you can type that up. Our lovely host here will gather all of your questions so that we can have a fulfilling Q&A at the end. All right. But if you want to be anonymous, when you start typing it out with the mention, you can tick that little box that says send private message. All right. That will come straight to me. But I would recommend that you also tag Naluri events so that they can see it. All right. So if you want this presentation to just refer back for some reminders about what to do with your health, you can find this at the end of the webinar or even in the little handout section up there. So you can follow along when you need it. I think it's good to have a reminder. So if we're all good here, let's move on to what are we going to be talking about today? All right. So I know here we have a bunch of statistics, right? But don't focus too much on this yet. Firstly, I want us to remember that we're not just talking about health during the holidays for this sort of Christmas, New Year's holidays. Of course, this is sort of the main thing because it is now. But when we talk about holidays, Malaysia, the country we are in, or most of us are in, has we are in the top 15 countries in the world for the amount of holidays we have. That's crazy. Top 15, you know? And we have about 19 to 25 holidays, depending on the state, throughout the year. So this end year is just one of the holiday season. I know for most of you um, who live in Malaysia, or all of you, I'm not sure, but for most of you, we have so many different portions of the year that can be constituted as holiday season. We have around like the beginning of the year, we have New Year's, then we have Chinese New Year, and then we have Raya, and then we have Thaipusam, and then we have Deepavali. We have so many holiday seasons that happen. What does that mean for our health? Every holiday that comes, our health game slips, right? So we need to be sure that we can maintain our health throughout all of these many holidays that Malaysia has. So we benefit from it with joy and for our health. Okay. So before you dive into the stats here, I want to sort of point out a few things that's pretty important to know. So generally, a lot of these studies that I'm about to share with you are made or are done in the US, in the United States. So it won't accurately reflect the Southeast Asia or Asia region, but I see that there are pretty good info here that we can all learn from. And in fact, if some of you already feel like it's relatable, that's good enough, right? So firstly, we have this study here, the stuff you see on the screen. It's done by Sleepopolis, which is a online platform for sleep health. It's called Holiday Stress and Sleep in 2023. So this study was done from, I believe, January until November 2023, and it just got published. So it's a data study. And what they found overall is that our health worsens around the holidays. Just in general, most people report that their health worsens around the holidays, right? For 30% of people, they said that their physical and mental health worsens around the holiday period. And usually women report greater stress and worse sleep compared to men, but it's just a slight difference compared to the overall results because men also report stress and worse sleep. So if we go into these slides here, I want you to see that on this left side, I got to make it bigger for myself. All right, I want you to see that on this left side, what we can see is that only 24.93% of people say that they will be making resolutions. Okay. And of that, 72% plan to implement a new wellness habit in 2024. But can we really say that we're implementing it? We're allowing ourselves to not have it now and use January 1st as our starting point. So we sort of let ourselves decline in health for the rest of the year, which isn't really good, is it? Right? So we move on down there. We have 44.9% of Americans say that their drinking habits increase over the holiday season, right? For those of you who do consume alcohol, if you notice this in yourself, it's it's part of this study too. Drinking more in the festive season or with a reason, it increases. But we do know that there are certain things that happen when we increase the consumption of alcohol or any other substances, right? We'll get into that in a bit. But other than that, let's go into holiday food habits, the one that's right next to it there, right? So here we can see that a lovely pie chart. Oops, okay, sorry, something happened on my side. Okay, we have a lovely pie chart here, right? Let's break it down. So 43.1% say that they overeat some holiday meals. And then we have the next big one, 27.5% say that they overeat most holiday meals. And then we have 20.4% that say that they never overeat holiday meals. They maybe have a better understanding of portioning and satisfaction for themselves. But 9% is still a big number, overeats all holiday meals. So what happens around the holidays that we start to overeat the food when in the normal, time periods we can eat regularly, but during the holidays we overeat. And we can see one of the stats there, 80.3% eat more sweets during the holiday season. I feel like if I was part of the study, I would contribute to this 80.3%, right? And then if we go down after that, there's some stuff about naps after Thanksgiving dinner. So that's a holiday in the US that's pretty big for them. And yeah, naps are affected as well, right? But I want to focus on the next area here. Let's go to the next area and see that the stress, holiday stress in this study, 8 in 10 of Americans, that's 80%, by the way, 80% of the study report increased stress during the holiday season. I don't know about you guys. Do you feel like you're part of this 80% if you were in this study? Do you feel like you have increased stress during the holiday season? If you want, you can put a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the chat to sort of show me that as I go through the rest of the statistics. All right. But of the stress, the people who are stressed, they report that, the biggest chunk, almost 50%, say that money is the biggest stressor over the holidays, finances. And then the second one, we have family gatherings. And then the next biggest is the disrupted routine, right? So what does that mean? Why is finances such a big deal during the holiday? I think probably all of us know why. There's a lot more spending that happens during the holiday season, right? Now let's move on to the last little area of statistics there. Or before I say that, I want to check. Oh my goodness, so many people put a thumbs up. Highly stressed during the holidays, right? So I think that's where we can see that maybe it's time to figure this thing out. It's time to figure out how do we reduce our stress during the holidays, right? So the last little stat here, we have health changes over the holidays. We have it divided into women and men. So if we see the red bar is physical health worsens, the green bar is mental health worsens, and the purple bar is sleep worsens. For any of you who are having issues with the color or like judging it based on color, the top bar for women will be physical health. The second one is mental health worsens, and the third one is sleep worsens. Same for men. Top is physical health, second is mental health, third one is sleep. So we can see that overall, minimum 20% for men, sleep worsens. Maximum, almost 40% for women, mental health worsens. But both have a staggering amount of worsening physical health and mental health, right? So this is what we want to understand more about ourselves. We have all of these statistics showing us about what is happening, right? We have stress about finances. We have feeling negative emotions during the holidays. The pressure of celebrations, of gifts, money, that contributes to your financial stress. Staying on diet, staying on your exercise routine, your health. What the COVID pandemic, we thought it was over, but no, it's getting worse recently. We have a higher number of COVID cases. So what if we fall sick? That adds to the stress too. And for some of you who have answered earlier, work obligations during the holidays, right? So we already have so many areas of stress that are going to affect us. What does that mean for our health, right? And for a lot of people, this is another study done by the American Psychological Association, the APA. They found that a lot of people tend to cope with stress with these few behaviors: sedentary behavior, which is eating comfort foods, watching TV, sleeping, drinking, basically behaviors that you're sort of still. You're not really moving, you're not really getting much activity done, right? That's sedentary behavior. They also cope with using impulsive spending. So if any of you have felt like that struck a nerve, something to look out for, right? Um, but there are some people who cope with it in more positive ways that I will get into today. They plan out their finances or their budget. They plan out their holiday ahead of time. They know what to do with their days. They use relaxation techniques, including music, prayer, reading, walking, or even exercising, right? So there's so many different ways to cope with stress, and there's so many triggers for our stress. So firstly, let's go into how do we understand this from the health perspective, okay? So let's go into the next slide, which sort of divides our areas of health, right? So, firstly, we have these two big areas of physical health and psychological health, also known as mental health. But mental is a specific area we'll go into later. Let's start with physical health. We have sleep, nutrition, and exercise. Okay. But as I talk about this, remember that I'm not dividing it into the areas of physical health per se. I'm dividing it into the areas you can start improving on. Okay. So for psychological health, same thing. Areas you can start improving on: social, emotional, and mental. All right. So with that, let's dive in first into physical health. Now, I know I talked about sleep, nutrition, and exercise, but with physical health, a lot of people would start to think, oh, it's fitness, it's your endurance level, it's your stamina, it's your appearance. Do you look physically fit, right? But chances are it's not that. There's so much else, so much more going on internally with physical health. And let's get into it. All right. This is the health and wellness triad. It is sleep, nutrition, and exercise. All right. So sleep, nutrition, and exercise. These are sort of, I guess we all, is a no-brainer, right? Oh yeah, I know I have to do sleep. I know I have to get better nutrition. I know I have to do exercise. But let me tell you a bit more about how these are connected to one another. See, when one pillar, which is either sleep or nutrition or exercise, when one of these pillars are compromised, the balance that supports our mental and physical well-being is thrown off. When we don't get enough sleep, this disrupts our energy, our appetite. We can't exercise enough. We don't feel like eating healthy food, right? If we don't get enough exercise, this doesn't allow us to have deep sleep. And then we overconsume low nutrient foods, right? So let me get into the nitty gritty. Let's go into sleep affecting diet, all right? So when you have good sleep, this usually leads to better food choices, as well as good nutrition that you have. It promotes better sleep. But if you have a lack of sleep, you are more likely to have coffee. And when you have coffee to get your energy up, you're more likely to have a donut or a pastry with it, right? Or have our lovely Malaysian breakfast of nasi lemak. All right, we may overeat with that coffee. And research with this shows that when you feel tired, it correlates to the lower likelihood to consume fiber or protein. Instead, we're more likely to choose salty, sweet, starchy foods to brighten our mood, to settle our stomach, and to boost energy with the carbs because we don't have enough sleep. Basically, with a lack of sleep, we get fewer nutrients and empty calories, right? Also, when we are feeling more sleepy, we are more hungry overall. It There is a measurement of this. By 23 to 24%, we are more hungry because good quality sleep helps to balance the hormone that regulates our appetite. When we don't have enough sleep, the leptin, which is the satiety hormone, which tells us that we're full, that we're satiated with the meals that we're eating. We don't have enough of that when we don't have enough sleep, right? But it also increases ghrelin, which is the appetite hormone. Now, what happens when you have more appetite? This leads with more appetite, less of the satiety hormone. It leads to eating more than your body requires because you have a higher appetite and you have less satisfaction after each meal. You eat more in the meal, you get more snacks after your meal, you get dessert because you don't feel like you're satisfied. That's what happens when you don't have enough sleep. And when you have regular eating patterns, it stabilizes your blood sugar and metabolism, right? But a lack of sleep results in you're less likely to eat breakfast, you're more likely to snack frequently, and skip meals, right? So this has also shown that it is, I'll go back into how diet affects sleep in a bit. But sleep, studies of sleep have shown that long-term sleep deficiency, if any of you are already having that, take note, it is associated with higher risk for obesity, higher risk for increased abdominal fat, and also risk factors for cardiovascular disease. So that's heart attacks, blockages, cholesterol, right? So if any of you are already feeling like, oh gosh, I got to do something with my sleep. I'm glad you feel that way because this kind of information is so important to note, that it actually has such a big impact on our life. Now, how diet affects sleep is that when you have healthy eating habits, you can improve your sleep, right? Like I said just now, all of these things, when you have a healthy eating habit, you get to improve your sleep. If you improve your sleep, you in turn want to eat healthier. So some examples would be like a heart healthy diet, for example, varied with plenty of fiber, plenty of fresh produce and protein, and avoiding saturated fats. When you do this, you can have better sleep. Having better sleep allows you to have uh, an appropriate amount of the satiety and appetite hormone, and it metabolizes better as well. All right, so that's sleep and diet. How about exercise and sleep, right? So, how exercise affects sleep is that moderate, regular exercise affects your body and brain to increase your sleep health and quality. Moderate, regular exercise, not just a super vigorous 2 hour workout once a week. No, you can have moderate exercise multiple times in the week, and that helps you too, right? So, a research was done that they found the subjects who completed moderate workouts every other day, so that's one day and then they do the exercise, one day they skip, for 6 weeks, they logged an extra 75 minutes of sleep per night. That, and they showed that this was a bigger increase than sleep produced by sleep inducing drugs. That's crazy because you take sleep drugs, right? Sleeping pills to feel like, okay, I get better sleep. But in fact, moderate workouts increase your sleep so much more because physical activity, it increases the level of adenosine. So that's your fatigue regulating hormone, right? To let your brain know when it's time to sleep, basically, or let your brain know that you can still keep going despite being tired, right? So that's the fatigue regulating hormone. Um, this is the body's natural hormone for it. But we take caffeine, and caffeine produces alertness by inhibiting this hormone, right? And what happens here if we use exercise, even though we have caffeine, we can use exercise to increase the concentration of this hormone in our brain so that we create the feeling of sleepiness. So throughout your day, um, maybe you take caffeine, you take coffee in the morning because you're like, I want to be awake, right? I'm so tired, I want to be awake. But then when you get to bed at night, you can't fall asleep because you don't have enough of the adenosine fatigue regulating hormone to be able to fall asleep enough. So that's where exercise or physical activity comes in because it increases the level of adenosine in your brain. Exercise also raises your body's core temperature, so it triggers the release of heat in your body. And this is very interesting because our bodies naturally start cooling slightly about 2 hours before our bedtime. And that begins the release of melatonin. Some of you may have heard of melatonin before, the calming hormone, right? But if you exercise, um, maybe in your day, maybe I would suggest if you want to do this for sleep in the evening, it can kick off the cooling response earlier. Meaning, oh no, I'm talking about all of this from one slide. Yeah, so it's all from the same slide. So it can cool down your body's, it can increase your body's cooling response and much earlier so that you can get to go to sleep earlier too. Okay. Apart from that, regular exercise also reduces the time taken to fall asleep and it improves your sleep quality, which then helps you so much with other areas because that improves your well being. It reduces feelings of anxiety, feelings of stress and depression, which usually also comes around leading to sleep disturbance. Okay? So I've been talking a lot here about how everything is connected, right? We've got sleep, diet, and exercise, the main health triad here. All right? Give me a moment. Um, Hold on 1 minute. So sorry. So sorry for the interruption. I'm back. Um, all right, so we have something here. Yeah, you're already sleepy, but you resist sleeping. Then you'll sleep around 1 to 2 a.m. Exactly. So what is that telling you? Like, seems like you're not listening to your body either, right? Or it seems like your body is telling you you are tired earlier because you're not getting enough sleep. It's trying to tell you to get sleep, but because of our daily schedule, it's very difficult to sleep earlier, right? But that's something we can go into in a bit here. So, sleep, diet, and exercise. When you improve just one of these triad, it can impact the other two. So, instead of thinking about how hard it would be to work on all three of these at once, let's look at the following suggestions to focus on at least one part from today onwards. You can choose either one, but start doing at least one. Okay. So, with that, let's start to get into it. I hope I didn't bore you with the research statistics so far, but here's where we can actually get into how do we do it. Okay. So, sleep. If you have difficulty achieving good sleep because of late nights, caffeine, alcohol, insomnia, overthinking and worrying, revenge bedtime procrastination, and lack of sleep hygiene. How many of you have heard of revenge bedtime procrastination before? Again, you can put your hand up if you have. This is a very interesting phenomenon that a lot of us have, the working adults have. Got one person, that's fine. So let me explain about revenge bedtime procrastination, meaning it means that when you're in bed, you feel like you haven't done enough that day because you're so constant, you've been concentrating and focused on your work, getting all of your tasks done. You didn't have time to have fun. You didn't have time to do an activity that was just for you. So, what happens when you get into bed is you go on your phone, you start scrolling, you get on social media, you watch funny videos. That is you procrastinating going to sleep because we're taking revenge. I didn't get enough of this in the daytime, so I can only have it now. But what happens is it extends your bedtime, it extends the sleeping time for you, and you don't get enough sleep, right? So if any of you are having this difficulty with this, yeah, there's a lot that happens, right? I would advise you to try these two things. Let's start with sleep hygiene. So, sleep hygiene is a very, it sort of encompasses all the things you can do to set up your environment externally and internally for better sleep. Okay. I like what's happening in the chat here. A lot of solidarity, a lot of people understanding each other. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about sleep hygiene, right? So, sleep hygiene itself um, refers to, oopsie, refers to both your sleep environment and your behavior. Poor sleep hygiene can negatively impact your sleep quantity and your sleep quality. All right. But good sleep hygiene includes setting a strict sleep schedule, following a bedtime routine, forming healthy habits, and optimizing your bedroom environment for your sleep. But a disclaimer, sleep hygiene alone doesn't cure sleeping problems. So if any of you are having sort of chronic insomnia and sleep disturbances, I advise that you seek professional help for that to figure out what's really going on. So the four things in sleep hygiene is first, set your sleep schedule. Have a fixed wake up time. Every day you wake up at the same time. Um, if it's for work, you wake up a certain time. If you want to wake up earlier, that would help as well to get some stuff done before work. But have a fixed wake up time every single day, same time. Prioritize your sleep. What's more important right now? To take revenge because I couldn't watch enough TikToks, or to go to sleep because I need it. My eyes are literally closing, but I'm not allowing myself to do it, right? Make gradual adjustments. Don't just start to do it immediately. Don't expect that you're able to fall asleep just because you start doing this, right? Make gradual adjustments. Maybe you start setting your alarm um, at a certain point, and then you notice that you want to get up earlier. So you start setting it 5 minutes earlier, and then 10 minutes earlier for a few days, and then 15 minutes earlier for a few days. So make gradual adjustments with all of the things I'm going to say. And don't overdo it with naps. Try to reduce your naps in the daytime because that does affect your sleep schedule at night. So first we have set your sleep schedule, right? Secondly, we have follow a nightly routine. So with a nightly routine, you want to keep it consistent. Try to budget at least 30 minutes for winding down. That 30 minutes should include your revenge bedtime procrastination. Give yourself some time to do these activities. Dim your lights, unplug from your electronics, right? Put your phone away, put it away, right? The light from your phone doesn't help at all. You can test different methods of relaxation. I'll get into a few later on. Don't toss and turn. If you find yourself not being able to fall asleep and you're tossing and turning with your mind being so active, a better thing to do is get out of bed. Literally get out of your bed. Go sit somewhere calm. Do a calming activity for about 10 to 20 minutes. If you're starting to feel sleepy again, then return to bed. Okay? And then the third part is to cultivate daily habits that are healthy. Get enough daylight exposure. Don't close yourself in during the day. Be physically active. Don't smoke. Nicotine actually makes you feel more alert, right? Same thing with caffeine. It restricts your um, the fatigue hormones. So don't smoke, try to reduce caffeine, reduce alcohol consumption as well. Even though alcohol, for those of you who have drunk alcohol, it makes you feel a bit sleepy. It wears off after you've fallen asleep and it disturbs you in the middle of your sleep. So it doesn't help anyway. So reduce the alcohol consumption, cut down on caffeine in the afternoon and evening. So morning only, don't eat dinner too late, and restrict in bed activity. So, what this means is the bed should be used for sleep, and the only exception should be sexual activity, but only for sleep as much as possible. Okay? Anything else, like you want to do your work in bed, you want to call someone in bed, you want to fold your laundry on bed, try to restrict that as best as possible. And lastly, optimize your bedroom. Maybe your mattress and pillow is so uncomfortable that you can't fall asleep, right? You need to change that up. Budget some of your holiday expenses. Get a better mattress, get a better pillow. Use excellent bedding. Set a cool or comfortable temperature. Recommended is about 18 degrees Celsius. So for those of you who have AC, 18 degrees would usually be best. But for me personally, I found that 23 is actually good enough for me and really good. 18 is too cold. But for some of you, maybe if you don't have an AC, use a fan. Maybe turn up your fan a bit more. Block out any light coming from outside. Drown out noise. You can use maybe a white noise machine, or you can use earplugs to fall asleep. You can even use some calming scents like lavender, for example. Put some aromas in your room, and that can help you fall asleep as well, right? So all of that is sleep hygiene. Again, I'm giving you so much information, but if you felt like there was just one that you could take and use, start on that. Everything else will come sort of naturally from there. If you have just one that you feel like you want to start on, just start there, okay? And then we also have relaxation exercises. All right. So part of the sleep hygiene is relaxation. Try some relaxation exercises. You could do some that requires a guided meditation for sleep. I recommend progressive muscle relaxation. You can find this anywhere on YouTube, right? Progressive muscle relaxation basically helps you to move your what's the word for it? It helps you to relax all different areas of your body because it targets different muscles that you may not realize you were tensing up. So when it does that, it helps you to further relax into the bed. And as you go from top to toe, top of your head to your toes, by the end of it, you'll feel so much more relaxed that it's much easier to fall asleep. Okay. And I'm very aware of the time. I think I'm taking a bit too long. So let's move on here. So let's talk about nutrition now, right? If you have difficulty maintaining a healthy nutrition intake because of availability of good food, the pressure of people around you not eating healthily or not eating like how you want to eat, your finances, some healthy diets can be a bit expensive. crash diets, withdrawal from sugar or caffeine, stress or depression, right? These are things you can try. Firstly, mindful eating. Now, mindfulness is the act of being aware and in the present moment, in the here and now. So, if you're able to be mindful when you're eating, these things can happen. You would be able to portion out the quarter, quarter, half. You might have heard that if you've been with Naluri for a while with your dietitian, the quarter, quarter, half meal, right? A quarter carbs, quarter protein, and half for veggies and fiber. Another part of mindfulness is to take note of your hunger and satiety cues. When you're feeling hungry, don't starve yourself. Go and have a meal. When you're feeling full, don't stuff yourself. Stop eating. Pack it away for later. All right. For snacking behavior, be mindful that you can snack. You can have snacks here and there, but be mindful of how much you take. Is it a snack or is it turning into a meal? All right. Just be mindful of that. And then self motivation. Ask yourself, why do I eat healthily? Why do I want to eat healthily? Everything else is so much better. Sweet, salty, fried foods is so much healthier. Why in the world would I want to eat healthily instead? Right? I think this is where you can give yourself that motivation that it's my health. I'm the one who wants to live longer. I'm the one who wants to not have cholesterol blocking my blood vessels. I don't want to have a stroke. I don't want to have a heart attack, right? Tell yourself this. Keep motivating yourself that there are such good reasons for eating healthily, right? And prepare for eating in moderation. What does that mean? It means that you can prepare your environment similar with what we did with sleep hygiene. What is around you to help you motivate yourself and eat healthily? Healthy snacks, fresh groceries. Your recipe book is right there for you to cook healthy meals, right? What could help here as well is when you go for these Christmas parties, remind yourself that, hey, this is good food, but I can still be mindful as I eat it. I can take enough of for me and feel satisfied with it. I can have maybe one or two sweets, a little bit of a drink, and that's it, right? So if you're one who's looking for that sort of healthy approach for your meals during the holidays, during the maybe Christmas parties, the work Christmas events, pay attention to these two things. All right. So quickly, let's move on to exercise. Pay no mind, it's still a picture of food. That's okay. But we all know what exercise would look like, right? So if any of you are having difficulty staying active because of time and energy, motivation, bad experiences, unhealthy mindset, and a lack of support, these are things that you can try. So firstly, establish a routine. What does that mean? A routine is not a routine that other people do. Even though everyone's saying like, oh, you should exercise 1 hour every day, right? Or you should do a workout routine that has your strength training and then cardio, and this is like 3 hours, 2 days a week, right? What works for someone else maybe doesn't work for you. So start to establish it. If y'all don't have a routine yet, start small. Start with just 15 minutes of a in-home walk on the spot exercise, right? You can do it anywhere. You can literally stand up if you're working from home right now. Stand up, move away from your desk, put on some music, walk for 15 minutes on the spot. Establish a routine that works for you with your time. So it can range from 15 minutes to 1 hour. It could be at home. You could go to the gym, use your unused gym membership or underused gym membership, if any of you have that. Or you can go for classes. Maybe some of you enjoy more of the classes type of exercise. Figure out a routine for yourself. Maybe these classes, you go for it every Wednesday and every Saturday, right? Stick to that routine. Maybe for your gym, you want to go every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays. Stick to that routine. At home, you work out on certain days at certain times. Stick to that routine. All right. And then number two, make it fun. If you're feeling like you're dreading going to exercise, you are not going to do it. You're going to force yourself and then you're going to give up on it. Find an activity that you can look forward to. Find something that's fun for you, right? I used to not like any form of cardio. until I found this, like, well, not found it, but basically I started doing cardio with music, right? I love to dance. So I play music and I blast it and I just do cardio at home by myself and have that be part of my exercise routine, right? So find something that makes it fun for you, that you look forward to. Additionally, find a community for yourself. Sometimes we need this support. We need people around us that are all doing the same things, that are all going the same way for exercise and health, right? Once you have something you look forward to and you do it in a group, you will be sure to do it so much more. All right. And at that point, it's not even about, oh, I'm exercising to lose weight or I'm exercising to improve health. At that point, you just look forward to it. You just want to exercise because you want to do this thing with the friends you've made. So make sure that this is a part of your exercise routine. Don't neglect this part. Okay. All right, now let's move forward to psychological health. Now, I want to divide it into the three areas. You'll get into it in a bit. But firstly, let's talk about the risk factors and triggers. These can be family, finances. Some of you put your hand up for finances being a stressful part of the holidays, your work, your childhood experiences, maybe some traumatic or bad experiences in childhood, lack of social support, lack of meaningful relationships, and other medical conditions or disabilities that already exist. And some of the signs and symptoms for psychological health declining include depressive symptoms. We've got low mood, low energy, low motivation, so much more. Anxious symptoms like tense, worrying, headaches, body aches, stress symptoms, irritable, agitated, low focus and attention. And others that could look like social withdrawal, reckless behavior, and impulsivity. So if any of you are already feeling some of these signs and symptoms, pay attention to the next few slides. Maybe there's something that can help with what I'm going to be talking about. Now we start with the social health. So if you have difficulty with your social well-being because you have a lack of healthy boundaries, there's so much family, there's so much peer pressure to do things. You find that you have a habit of people pleasing, and you just have a lot of stress and worries about your social environment. These are things you can try. Firstly, set healthy boundaries. Okay? Reflect and decide in advance, what do healthy boundaries look like for me? What does it even mean? What does boundaries even mean? Right? So, some questions you can ask yourself is this: what things are important for me to do during the holiday season? How do I want to feel after the holidays are over? Do I need some time for myself during this season? What will help me feel happy during the season? And finally, am I saying yes to a lot of things because I feel guilty? How many of you say yes to this? You say yes to a lot of things because you feel guilty. Just have a hands up in the comment section. Because I know it's me. I will put my hand up too. When I feel guilty, I say yes when it's something I really don't want to do, right? Yeah, we've got some people coming in. All of us, I think we can benefit from setting healthy boundaries, right? So when we're able to tell ourselves like, oh my goodness, I've been saying yes when I don't want to. Maybe it's time to start saying yes to things I really want and saying no to things I don't want, right? So I think with all of us with the hands up here, I think this is an important thing for all of us to do, all right? So something that we can also do is budgeting. And we're not just talking about finances, we're talking about finances, our time, and our energy with all of the things going on during the holidays. Well, that's okay sometimes. That's okay. Well, most of the time. But if you feel guilty for saying yes, that's something we can discuss. So budgeting, right? Finances, I think we all know how to budget that. We all know that this is something that's very important. But we forget about budgeting time and energy. For those of you who say you're going to be working during the holiday season, are you able to budget your time and energy for your work and for spending time with the family and for spending time with yourself? Are you able to budget how much energy you can give to each of these areas? So that's something to think about, right? And one way to set these boundaries is maybe you need to excuse yourself from a triggering conversation. Maybe you need to decline an invite if you know that there will be someone there who disrespects you or who just brings your energy down, right? For some examples of what you could say will be like, we will just have to agree to disagree, or I'm here to enjoy family and the holiday, not debate with you, right? And I know for some people during the holidays, we get comments on weight, body appearance, eating habits, um, the lack of a partner, the lack of children, not married yet, all of these things happening, right? How do we set ourselves up for being respected? We have to start respecting ourselves first. We have to be able to say that, you know what's more important than your feelings? My boundaries. I feel uncomfortable and hurt when I hear your words. Or maybe I'll leave the room. I'm just going to leave the room. I don't want to hear this anymore, right? Something else is to set consequences for disrespect. How do we do that? It's so much work sometimes to think about this, especially if some of us have people pleasing, right? So consequences could look like, if you don't stop talking about this, I'm going to leave the party, right? Or if you violate my boundaries with certain things, if you push me to eat more, I'm going to make a scene. I'm going to do something to show people that you are disrespecting my boundaries. I'm going to leave the room, right? Yes, especially with relatives around. It's so hard. And I think a lot of people get away with that disrespect because nobody ever tells them that it's something we shouldn't do. Correct? So let's see if this holiday season we can have a little bit of that courage. Now, I encourage all of you to try it. Try to do this. We can also use communication to address some issues with our loved ones. This is probably when we want to talk to them about something. We want to bring them into what we're thinking. Right? We don't want to just set a boundary and say, hey, follow it, or I won't talk to you. These are with our loved ones. Maybe we want to tell them that I don't really like when you disrespect me or make too much fun of me in front of my family. I want to talk to my loved one about that. How can I do that? Um, I don't have enough time to fully go into the dear man assertiveness technique, but honestly, a quick Google search, they explain it so much better than I can. But just to give yourself a little bit of an info about this, the skill will help you to have genuine, healthy, and clear communication with other people. So D for describe, E for emote, A for assert, R for reinforce. These four are what you say. Describe the situation, describe your emotions about it, assert this issue, and reinforce it with them. M for mindful, A for assertive, and N for negotiate, MAN. So this part is how you do it. As you're talking about it, be mindful to keep it on topic. Be mindful of straying from the conversation, your emotions during it. Be assertive and negotiate. Maybe there's, you do this much for me, I'll do this much for you. Okay? So that's for communication so far. And then let's go quickly into mental health. So we already talked about social health. Now it's mental health. If you have difficulty with maintaining a positive mental health because of sleep difficulties, stress and burnout, existing mental illness or mental health conditions, or unhealthy beliefs and thoughts, this could be something you can try, right? So firstly, mindfulness practice. We saw this in eating. We can use it for our thoughts too. Start to check in with yourself. Reflect on the areas of concern of your stress, your backaches, your neck aches. Why do they continue to exist? Why are they still here? You know? And maybe with this mindfulness, we're able to notice that, oh gosh, I've been working overtime most of the time this year. I didn't realize that. Um, or I've been working late nights and I'm working on my bed. That's why I have this neck pain, right? So check in with yourself about these areas of concern. Why are they still here? When we know this, we can start to do things about it. One example is thought exercises. Maybe we are still doing overtime because we feel like I'm not good enough. I have this belief about myself. I'm not good enough. I need to prove my worth. That's an unhealthy thought because you are worthy, no matter what your success is about you. So we can challenge our unhealthy thoughts. We can tell ourselves like, you know what, my worth will still exist if I do this work tomorrow, right? We also have something else to help you create distance from harmful beliefs about yourself and about others. try your best to move away from thoughts like this, right? Whatever that looks like for you, move away from it. It'll still be with you, that's normal, but try to make sure that even if it's with you, you're able to focus on what's in front of you, what's present in your life right now, rather than only these unhealthy thoughts and beliefs, right? And then let's go into emotional health. I'm just aware of the time. I'm going a bit fast here, but if any of you are willing to stick around a bit more at the end, I will have a mindfulness exercise that I will do with you. So I do hope that you can stick around if you don't mind. For emotional health, if you have difficulty with managing your emotions because of a lack of awareness, suppression of your emotions, a lot of us do that, unhealthy coping mechanisms, and a lack of social support, let's go into emotional understanding first. Let's start reflecting. Let's start improving the awareness of our emotions. What am I feeling, right? Um, when I feel like something just happened, maybe my boss came in and gave me extra work and I'm in shock, what else am I feeling? I'm feeling upset. I'm feeling disappointed. I'm feeling angry, right? When someone at my, or maybe my loved one at the Christmas party gets disrespected by one of my family members, what am I feeling, right? Practice your emotional awareness so that you know what is going on internally. And then you're only able to express it in a much healthier way. Most of the time, if we express it in an unhealthy way, it's because we don't actually know what we're feeling. We lash out, but we don't know that it's not just anger, it's actually sadness and hurt under there. So if we can express more of the sadness and hurt, that helps it to be much more healthy, right? And throughout all of this, to give yourself that self compassion as you're having a difficult and tough time. All of us deserve self compassion, no matter what you're going through, right? So if you can try to show yourself a bit of kindness, a bit of understanding, a bit of patience, that will help your emotions so much more in times of difficulty. Apart from that, let's reach out to others. When we have emotional difficulties, a lot of us tend to isolate ourselves. We tend to withdraw from people. So don't isolate. Instead, do the opposite. Reach out to your friends, reach out to your family members. Ask people for support. Most people are willing to give it. Ask someone to listen. Most people are willing to do it, especially if they love you, right? So start reaching out to others more, especially when you feel like you don't want to. Okay? So, with that, let's sort of wrap up. What are the coping skills that we've talked about, right? And this is usually for psychological health. We've got thought challenging exercises. We want to challenge our thoughts, start to weigh the evidence. Do I have evidence that this thought is true? Do I have evidence that this thought is not true? Okay, I have more evidence that it's false. Therefore, this thought shouldn't be here, right? So we can start to challenge ourselves in that way. The hands as thought is one method to create a distance between yourself and your thoughts. So if you put your hands up like this in front of your face, right? Everyone, you can do it if you can. Whoever's driving, please don't do it. In fact, don't look at the screen at all. Okay. For those who are, not driving, put your hands in front of your face. You know how it's so difficult to see what's in front of you, right? You can see just the peripheral stuff around it. But if you put your hand a bit further, you see a bit more. You see a bit more of everything, but your hands are still there, correct? Put a bit further, you see a lot more, but your hands are still in front of you. Put your hands in your lap. You see a lot more in front of you, almost everything. You can also still notice that your hands are in your lap, right? So this can represent your thoughts. That when you have all of these difficult thoughts, you don't need to get rid of them completely. We can never get rid of our hands. We can never really get rid of our thoughts either. But we can distance ourselves from them, put it in our lap. We acknowledge that it's here, but we don't pay as much attention to it. Right? Try your best to do this, especially during the holiday season, if possible. I mentioned self compassion just now. So, self compassion is also very important for yourself. We can also go into relaxation techniques. We can use deep breathing techniques, progressive muscle relaxation techniques to help us reduce stress, to reduce anxiety, improve our sleep, so many things, right? And then we can also use mindfulness practices. So we have informal and formal mindfulness. Informal will be mindful eating, for example, right? Where you're just paying attention to what you're doing. You can do it as you brush your teeth, What am I thinking? What am I feeling? I feel the toothbrush going across my teeth. I notice that my thoughts stray and I'm just doing this autopilot. You can do it while you're driving, just practicing being in the moment, being aware in the moment. You can do it when you're showering, for example, right? Just those moments when you feel yourself going on autopilot. Try to bring your focus back to what's going on here in my environment, in my thoughts internally, and all of that. And we also have some formal mindfulness practices. So one of the formal mindfulness practices, I'll get into it with you guys in a bit. Um, but other than that, these are overall some coping skills that you can use. Again, use the handouts later to refer back to all of these areas, because I highly recommend that you get to Googling, find more things like thought challenging exercises to try for yourself. And then we also want to maintain self care. So, other than coping skills to um, improve things that are not great, self care helps us to maintain things that are going well. Okay. So, we've already talked about exercise. Journaling is another thing to help you with that. When you start to journal, you incorporate mindfulness, emotional awareness, um, stress relief, so many things. So, if any of you are thinking about journaling, here's your sign. Get started on it, get started and continue it throughout your next year resolution. Let's see what happens when you start to journal. Socializing also, for those of you who get energy from socializing, for those of you who just need support with socializing, this also helps you with your self-care. Don't forget your interests, your hobbies. What about art? Do you like looking at art? Do you like creating art, playing games, sports, for example, or video games even? Or what about watching your favorite TV shows or movies? Let's try not to neglect even our interests and hobbies during this time. And lastly, if any of you have found that all of this are good points, but if you have a more serious mental health condition, or you need more professional help, I highly recommend you go for therapy. Try counseling, at least one session. You know, give yourself that opportunity, that chance to have this space to fully focus on you and your health. Okay. So with that, some key takeaways, right? I know we went a bit over time. Thank you guys who have stayed so far. Some key takeaways here. We've got your physical and psychological health are obviously related, right? But take one thing at a time. Try one thing. If it's just if it's just sleep, if it's just exercise, if it's just diet, or if it's just your mental health, just your social, just your um, emotional health. Try one first. Slowly build it up with other areas. But if all else fails, always go back to the health triad. That's your sleep, nutrition, and exercise. All right. So, for those of you who want to stay on, I would love to bring you through a formal mindfulness exercise. All right. Um, for those of you who need to go, I would recommend you click the little thing down there to show us some feedback before you go. Um, so we really appreciate that. For those of you who have a bit of time, let's take just about 3 minutes to do a mindfulness exercise. All right. So up to you. You can close your eyes. You can leave it open. You can look at this screen. You can look at a place, so in front of you. Keep a relaxed gaze, basically. All right. So let's get started by settling yourself where you're sitting, right? Settling deep into your chair. If you notice there's any areas of tension, go ahead and shake it off. Shake it off and relax more into your chair where you're sitting, all right? Make sure your hands are somewhere comfortable. Your arms are in a comfortable position. Your legs are comfortable. For you, if you're crossing your legs, that's fine. If your legs on the floor, that's fine. But allow yourself to focus on your body right now. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to what is going on as you're sitting here. And as you do that, I want you to take just a regular breath in through your nose. Just inhale and exhale through your mouth. One more time. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. One more inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. And continue to do that breathing. Doesn't have to be deep breathing, just a regular, slower pace breathing for yourself. And as you're breathing, I want you to start paying attention to what's going on in your mind. Are you having a lot of thoughts? Are you having a lot of worries? Are you overthinking about something? Just pay attention. No need to interact with it. Just pay attention. Okay, this is happening. This is here. Give you a bit of moment, a bit of time to do that, right? And then I want you to also pay attention. What are you feeling today? What's your mood like? Do you have any emotions that are strong, that are intense? Maybe do you have some emotions that are lingering for a while? It happened a while ago, but it's still sort of here. Pay attention to that, how it presents itself in your mind, in your body. How does it feel? And now let's turn our attention back to the body, back to your physical state. And pay attention. Do you have any pain anywhere? Do you have any aches anywhere? Are you feeling completely relaxed, or do you notice yourself still tensing up somewhere as you do this relaxation exercise? Go ahead and relax those areas. Relax your back. That's an area we forget sometimes. Relax your shoulders, your jaw. Unclench your jaw. If any of you, your hands are in fists, go ahead and release that. Just allow yourself, as you breathe in and as you exhale, with each exhale you do, relax even more. Okay? So as you inhale, you exhale, relax a little bit more. Now let's take a few final deep breaths. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Finally, inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Bring your awareness back to your current situation. Bring your awareness back to here and now. Open your eyes if any of you closed your eyes. And yeah, that's the mindfulness exercise. That's how a formal mindfulness feels. All right. So I know we had, I think, two major questions earlier. So I'll get to the questions if any of you are sticking on. But I know that we have to end in 1 minute. So let me quickly answer the questions. So we have one, which is if you want to do evening yoga for winding down, how long before sleep can we do that? So if the exercise is increasing your heart rate, increasing your sort of activeness, that's when we recommend don't do it too late. But if it's evening yoga where it's a stretch for winding down, you can even do that right before sleep. So you don't have to have a long period of time. You can do that almost immediately. And then we have another one. Is it normal if you get extremely sleepy after lunch? Yes. Yes, it is, especially with the heat. After lunch, what happens is when we feel extra full, and if we feel too full, sometimes we get sleepy. So that's why it's important to keep note of your satisfaction with your meal so that you don't feel too or extra full, you don't overeat, and that will reduce the sleepiness that you get after lunch. So hopefully that helps with those two questions there. All right. And thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this. I hope that you can try out the things I talked about today. I'm also going to do some of these things myself. Happy holidays. Hope you all have a great rest. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. Thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget to do the little feedback with the button on the bottom left of your screen. All right. I'll appreciate that so, so much. Thank you so much. And I appreciate all of you being so active. All right. Thank you for coming today. Hope you have a good day and take care, everyone.